Oh, hiya. Just got some pretty kind of devastating news. Don't really know how to continue. I'll try and soldier on for this video, but that is genuinely quite gutting. I just don't know what they're thinking, giving Steve Clarke a new contract. Alright everyone, it's okay, just a wee gag there at the start. Another example of the laughs that we have here at 67 Hail Hail Towers. We've reached Friday, the end of another working week, but we'll no doubt have someone in the comments calling me an idiot because they work on a Saturday or something like that. So yeah, very good, call me an idiot. Sorry, I don't mean to take this out on you. I'm just a wee bit kind of... Steve Clarke, new contract. I don't know. Maybe I and we are spoiled as Celtic fans with Ange Postecoglou, but yeah, I just thought that was a bit of a strange one. Giving Steve Clarke a new contract on the eve of a qualification campaign. Not 100% sure how to feel about that. But don't worry, this isn't a Scotland video today. We are going to talk mainly about Celtic. It's been a bit of a long week, hasn't it, without any footage really from Celtic. I sat yesterday and watched a 5 or 6 minute interview, not an interview, like a quick fire question thing with Alistair Johnson when he was talking about whether he prefers NBA or NHL or whatever it was, and it was a low point. The main Celtic talking point, I would say, over the last 48 hours or so has been Mikey Johnston. And if you are suddenly wondering why everyone is discussing a guy who not only had his namesake signed at the club in January, the aforementioned Alistair Johnson, but also lost his squad number, thanks very much, then the reason that everyone is talking about Mikey Johnston is because he made his international debut for the Republic of Ireland on Wednesday night. They were playing Latvia in a friendly at the Aviva Stadium, if it's still called the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Johnston didn't start the match, but he did come on as a sub, I think, after around about an hour. And he had a pretty impressive debut. He laid on the winning goal for Ireland in their 3-2 win when he kind of cut inside and hit the post, and the rebound came for, I think it was Ogbenny to tuck away. And then he had the kind of run that you've probably seen on social media. Really good feet when he was skinning, I think, 3 or 4 players in one run, and had a shot that was destined to go in were it not for the defender blocking it on the line. So I'm not saying that the Celtic support are fickle, but it took 2 Mikey Johnston dribbles to have everyone dreaming that he's going to be a Celtic superstar again. I am again having a wee bit of fun there. Obviously, no one has been convinced from those 2 things that Johnston is now going to be a star at Celtic. I don't think that's the case anyway, but maybe I'm wrong. I have always kind of thought that maybe Johnston does have some sort of a chance at Celtic. I certainly think he has quite literally a chance. He'll be given another chance in the summer when he returns from his loan with Victoria de Guimarães in Portugal. I think that loan has gone all right, but I think he'll come back and be given, at least one more chance to impress Ange Postecoglou to get into his plans ahead of next season. It's not going to be easy, but based on that level of performance that we saw for Ireland the other night, then it is possible. Do have a couple of quotes here from Ange earlier on in the month. Now, this was shortly after Johnston's switch of allegiance to the Republic of Ireland had been announced. And Ange said, "I think international football is a fantastic part of a footballer's career. It gives you new experiences, different experiences. It allows you to take your game to another level because of the different context international football brings. In terms of beyond that, he's playing more regularly. We needed him to play more football, and he's doing that. At the end of the year, we'll assess all that and decide what the best thing is for his future." So yeah, Johnston will be back at Celtic in the summer, and listen, I would love him to be able to produce it. Finally, we've seen it in glimpses for Celtic, but it'd be amazing to see it. And yeah, you might be watching this and thinking, yeah, not a chance at all. I guess we all felt that way about Anthony Ralston for example, and probably most of us felt that way about Greg Taylor as well. So there are recent examples in this Ange team of players kind of coming back from the brink to become really important players. So hopefully Johnston can be another one that follows that mould. In terms of Anthony Ralston, he's one of the players who is actually playing international football during this break, although he wasn't called up in the original Scotland squad. He was brought in a few days ago to replace Jack Hendry, which is kind of like me walking out right now and Ange Postecoglou coming in to do the rest of the video. That's the kind of levels of replacement we're looking at. In fact, let's give this a try. Let's see if Ange returns. Nah, it's just me. So Ralston begins tomorrow. Scotland plays Cyprus. Whether Ralston actually plays or not, I would say probably won't, but he's part of the squad anyway. Callum McGregor I certainly would expect to play. But we have had some players play on Friday already. Our Asian contingent, which is just 2 players, strangely enough, played earlier today. Well, kind of played actually. Daisen Maeda was an unused sub for Japan in their 1-1 draw with Uruguay. Meanwhile, Hyun-Yu Oh got half an hour for South Korea in their 2-2 draw with Colombia. Tonight, if you are watching this on Friday, Sead Haksabanovic and Karel Starfelt could both be in action for Montenegro and Sweden, respectively. Montenegro are away to Bulgaria. That game will almost certainly have finished by the time you're watching this, so I don't know why I'm telling you that. I'm going to guess that Montenegro will win 2-1. How about that for a prediction? And Sweden are at home to Belgium, which should be a tasty one. Whether Starfelt will feature in that, again, I'm not sure. It would be good to see him up against that calibre of opposition. Both of those matches are shown on Viaplay Sports, as are the majority of the European qualifiers. Worth clarifying at this stage that Matt O'Reilly isn't one of the players away in international duty. There's not been much chat about this, really. Certainly nothing from Celtic. It's been really difficult to get anything from the kind of Danish website or Twitter feed. But we can confirm that O'Reilly isn't with the Denmark under-21s. The reason for that is that he is now too old to play under-21 football. Had Denmark qualified for the Euros this coming summer, then O'Reilly would have been able to keep playing until that point. But given that they didn't qualify, it's now a new cycle, a new team, and he's ineligible. So O'Reilly, until he gets the full Denmark call-up, won't be playing international football. Hopefully that's a matter of time before that comes. That's kind of it for the international stuff for now. In terms of other things, an interesting one that came out the other day, that is effectively our squad being valued by CIES Football Observatory, who are a research group within the International Centre for Sports Studies. Now, they have named the top 100 clubs in the world according to, Neil Lennon air quotes, the estimated value of transfer rights held on players in the squad. Now, they define that as, Neil Lennon air quotes, players in the squad on loan to other teams or sold with a sell-on percentage. So it's kind of complicated, but effectively look at it as being a valuation of Celtic's squad. We're 64th in the top 100 with a squad value of €169 million. Now, when you take away clubs from Europe's top 5 leagues, so England, Spain, Germany, Italy, France, we're actually 10th on the list. Here's the graphic they produced. As you can see, Ajax are on top. And for me, this is interesting because the clubs that join us on this list, the other 9, are all teams that I think we should be competing with. There is no reason for us not to be doing what some of these teams from similar-ish leagues to Scotland have done recently. So I found that quite interesting. Elsewhere, a limited number of tickets for the upcoming derby against Rangers at Celtic Park on April the 8th went on sale yesterday. They didn't last long, with Celtic tweeting that the game had sold out, I think 33 minutes after their initial tweet. The reality is that the tickets lasted much less than 33 minutes. So, yeah, as expected, the derby has sold out. Tickets are going to be like gold dust for what could potentially be a kind of title clincher. I think if we win that, Rangers aren't going to win the league, basically. It won't officially be over, but that could be the clincher. And a wee reminder that the whole stadium is going to be packed with Celtic fans, no away supporters, and while I think, well, I'm going to say most of us, I think at least half of us would like to see away supports in these derbies and substantial away supports. It could be quite fun if Rangers implode again in a cauldron of noise. I don't think it will ever be quite as good as the February the 2nd game last year, but, you know, a victory would be pretty amazing. So we've got that to look forward to. A reminder that that game is a fortnight tomorrow, so it's not far away at all. Really going to be into that soon after we come back. But if you are looking for a more immediate Celtic fix, we have the Legends game at Anfield taking place tomorrow. Celtic have sold over 4,000 tickets for this fixture. Now, I think there's a fair amount of teams in England and Scotland that wouldn't even sell 4,000 tickets for Anfield if it was the Liverpool first team they were playing. So this Celtic support is incredible, and I think that's just in the Celtic section. There'll be Celtic fans in Celtic colours, which are green, white, yellow, pink, maybe, elsewhere in the stadium as well. So it's probably going to be far more than 4,000 supporters. So hopefully you enjoy yourself if you're going down to the game tomorrow. Liverpool is a fantastic city. I was down there actually late last year for a similar kind of Legends game. It was Legends of the North, they billed it, Liverpool v Man United, and there was a really good crowd at Anfield that day, probably around 40,000, so you would expect similar for the game tomorrow, so it could be quite a fun one. It's been shown on the Liverpool YouTube channel as well, so if you're not going, you are still able to watch it from the comfort of your home, although there is an overlap with the Scotland game tomorrow. Scotland kick off at 2 o'clock. The Celtic Legends v Liverpool Legends game is at 3. So you get the first half of the Scotland game. Long enough to see us go 3-0 down. The teams for this match, just quickly by the way, Celtic playing squad: Artur Boruc, Shay Given, Darren O'Day, Glenn Loovens, Raymond Vega, Mikael Lustig, Emilio Izagiri, Lee Naylor, Joe Ledley, Leonardo DiCaprio, meme, I know that guy, Stilian Petrov, Cy Ferry, Mark Crozas, Massimo Donati, Ross Wallace, Simon Donnelly, Trevor Sinclair, Niall McGinn, Robbie Keane for one half, Jan Venegoor of Hesselink, and Harold Bratback. Paul Lambert is the manager, and the Liverpool side is very, very strong. Jerzy Dudek, Sander Westerveld, Fabio Aurelio, Martin Skirtle, Bjorn Torre Kavarmi, Sami Hyypiä, Ragnar Klavan, Gregory Vignal, Stephen Gerrard, Steve McManaman, Mark Gonzalez, Gary McAllister, Salif Jow, Albert Riera, Mohamed Sissoko, Charlie Adam, Luis Garcia, Robbie Keane for the other half, Djibril Cissé, and Dirk Kuyt, and Sir Kenny Dalglish is their boss. John Barnes involved in there as well. I think Ian Rush and John Aldridge as well. So some very big names, and a busy weekend for us all, even though the Celtic first team isn't in action. We'll get through it, and I'll chat to you on Monday when we'll be in the home straight with regards to Celtic coming back.